What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. The road to predict all 136 FBS level college football teams this summer now takes us to San Jose, California, where we are back on the mountaintop in the Mountain West. The San Jose State Spartans are going to look to build off of a good 2024 into what could be a great 2025 season. My name is Nate Pope, otherwise known as Tailgate Nate, and I want to thank you all so much for supporting the channel by clicking on this video. If you want to support the channel even further, then go down below, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, you might as well ring the bell, because turning on notifications will ensure that you don't miss an upload during prediction season, and especially not one for your favorite team, of which we only got about 30 or so of them to do. Speaking of which, I am a sports media graduate delving into the professional world of the sports media industry. You want to see all the cool stuff I get to do while still being up to date what goes on this very YouTube channel, then please give me a follow at TailgateNate29 on Twitter, Instagram, and please feel free, even email me at tailgatenate29@gmail.com. I want to thank you all so much for supporting and interacting with me and the channel in whatever way you may be doing so. And after a quick water break, because it's always important to stay hydrated, let's now talk about Ken Niumatalolo and the San Jose State Spartans in 2025. Pretty successful year for San Jose State last year, 7-5. Did win all their non-conference games, but did go 3-4 in conference. A little bit of a struggle once you got into Mountain West play, but the schedule this year sets up really nicely for them. A lot of the talent is coming back. It's a very well-coached team and a Spartan program that is looking and itching to get back to a Mountain West Conference championship. How do we do preview predictions here on the channel? Well, we go through a roster overview. Offense over here to the left, defense over here to the right. At the end of the video, we're going to go through the San Jose State football schedule, where I will give it a game-by-game preview prediction. This video overall is here to tell all of you what I think about the Spartans in 2025. You look down below me, returning production numbers are according to ESPN, factoring in portal additions up to a certain percentage, and right down below that, your recruiting and transfer portal ranks for the class of 2025 are according to 24/7 Sports. Craig Stutzman is your offensive coordinator as we dive on into the San Jose State Spartans here. 2025. Walker Iget is going to be coming back, playing quarterback for this program last year. Split time with a guy by the name of Emmett Brown kind of last year. He did have over 100 more passing attempts than Emmett Brown last year. Emmett Brown has transferred out of the program. I believe he is now, yes, he's transferred over to Coastal Carolina, where he very well may be that starting quarterback. 1,621 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last season. Iget was the leading passer with 2,504 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. The completion percentage, the yards per pass attempt were vaguely the same between the two quarterbacks I just mentioned. But again, is going to come back, and he's going to build upon, maybe great is not the right word. It was a fairly good season for him. I think you're looking for a great season from him, though, in 2025. You, again, sort of combine his stats with the likes of Emmett Brown. Again, the completion percentage and all that doesn't change too much. But what does change, especially even if you flip the touchdown to interception ratio, I mean, that's a much better season for it. Again, you combine the two passing numbers. This is an offense that likes to run what they call the spread and shred. It's a very productive, high pass volume offense. And Iget is going to be running the show this year. And I think you're going to see him really manage this offense pretty darn well. Again, was a good quarterback for him last year. Now with that full #1 job, I think you're going to see him explode offensively for this team. And what's more, he's got a lot of talent around him. Your top 3 rushers, led by Floyd Chalk, who had 721 yards and 10 touchdowns last season, coming back, as well as your other top 2 weapons in Jabari Bates and Lamar Radcliffe. So you got a pretty dangerous 3-headed monster when they do get touches on the football. This is the team that threw the ball 552 times and ran the ball 324. And while I think the run game can get a whole lot better, can even get 90 yards per game game last year and barely got 3.5 yards per carry. I think Floyd Chalk, with all these other returners, are going to see this rush attack level up this season and be a fairly nice complement to this passing attack. Is it going to be perfect? No, but I think it's going to be better than it was last season. Your wide receiver room, though, is where you take some hits and where that returning production number does see its dip. Nick Nash, 1,382 yards, 16 touchdowns on 104 catches last season, and then the season before that also had a really good year, 728 yards and 8 touchdowns, but exploded last season, rightly so, is now in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. Really, really good weapon, as well as some other top wide receiver pieces on this team from last year are going to be gone. So it's pretty much going to be a new room that's built through the transfer portal. However, Matthew Coleman does come back. Coleman last season still had a solid year, 401 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, you really get everybody involved because of the spread and shred offense. Coleman does come back again. You lose some other pieces, such as a guy who almost had 1,000 yards last season, a guy by the last name of Lockhart. First name in Justin. He's also giving a shot at the NFL. And then Terry Shunahuri, or Tracian Hurry, my apologies, is now over with the Louisville Cardinals. So Coleman coming back, but the starters are mainly going to be guys that come in through the transfer portal. And I got to tell you what, I really do like a lot of these guys. Leland Smith is coming over from Purdue. I think Danny Scudero is a great pickup from Sacramento State. I love that a lot for this program. And then Malachi Riley coming in here as well over from Arizona. What's more, when you extend this to the tight end room, you did have a little bit of a tight end duo last year. It was Jacob Stewart and it was Jackson Cannon. Well, one of those guys is coming back. Obviously, it says it right there. Stewart does portal out. I believe he is also now with Louisville. And so Jackson Cannon going to be that main primary face and was the better of the two in terms of receiving yards last year. Had 6 less catches than Stewart, but had 314 yards as compared to Stewart's 287. 2 touchdowns compared to Stewart's 3. Again, the two were pretty comparable, but the overall efficiency was a lot better for Cannon, who's going to come in and be that second tight end. There might not be one. I think you got some solid options in there, but the primary focus is on Jackson Cannon. And then, again, when you factor in these new wide receivers, as well as, again, there are more returners than Matthew Coleman, such as Cooper Hawk, but none of them as notable as Coleman, and the transfers are going to be getting a ton of time this season. I still do like overall what you got in this wide receiver room. While I don't think it's going to be as talented as Nick Nash and Justin Lockhart and some of those guys that leave this program, because I think they were really special pieces, I think you got a solid enough unit here paired with the tight end Jackson Cannon to where this spread and shred offense, I think, is still going to work and be really effective in the Mountain West this season. What's more on your offensive line? Well, you do have to replace 2 pieces, but it could still field one of the conference's better units, even with losing a couple of starters. It only allowed 12 sacks last season, and it threw more passes, and you could even argue, It was definitely the more mobile quarterback now that I'm thinking about it, and the stats even do back it up. So didn't get himself out of trouble, but even so, It was sacked less than Emmett Brown and had nearly 100 more passing attempts. This is an offensive front, could prove to be one of, if not the best, the Mountain West has to offer this season. So I think if Walker can stay healthy, because there were some points last season where I think he got tripped up a little bit and just overall had some abysmal games. Don't look at that UNLV box score. Doesn't want to remember it either from November 22nd last year. It was bad. He only completed 4 passes. But this is a team with a lot of high upside pieces. I think your rushing attack is going to get better this year. You got some good protection with your offensive line. I think you're going to see a solid bunch offensively this year. If not, could be one of the conference's better units. Defensively, Derek Odom is your defensive coordinator, and third downs really hurt what overall was good defensive production. They had 25 sacks last year. They defended 40 passes. They recovered 7 fumbles and had 21 interceptions, including 2 pick sixes, with nearly 1,000 team tackles. Nearly 1,000 team tackles. This is a team that tackled very, very well, but man, on third down, they just could not stop anybody. I think 46 to 48% is what they allowed their opponents to convert on third down last year. Look, everything else can remain the same from last year. If that third down defense changes, oof, I think this is the San Jose State team, no matter what the offense does, that can take a step forward just simply if the third downs get better. Because a lot of the other production was pretty good, and you do return some really solid talent from last year. Albeit, we got to talk a little bit about what you lost because you did lose a really good piece on the defensive front in Soane Toia. He is going to be gone, and off was your sack leader from last season with 4.5 sacks. You also do lose John Ward, who had 3 sacks. That was second on the team. So your top 2 sack producers are gone, but the sacks really came from everywhere last year. And there are a lot of other major returners and major producers that are going to be coming back to this program this year. Guys like Justin Stearns and Gaffa Faga and a guy by the name of Quincy Lakio, even some guys that are going to sit way back in this room. So you do have some other really nice major producers return. It's just mainly they play 3 defensive linemen front, and then when you dive on into the linebacker room, again, you do lose some pieces, such as a guy by the name of Jordan Cobbs. Was a good piece for you last year. Top 5 tackler, had 69 of them. Nice 2.5 sacks, and did pick off 2 passes last season as well. But your leading tackler, Jordan Pollard, one of the best tackling linebackers in the entire Mountain West. 115 tackles, 2 sacks, did pick off a pass last season, so you're going to lose. Or I should say you're going to get him coming back, which is huge. He returns with, honestly, a pretty scary good group that, again, has a lot of really good pieces coming back. The Taniela, probably butchered that first name, last name Latu, is going to be coming back on the outside. You're also going to get Noah McNeil Franklin back. John Norwood is a nice returning piece. Ethan Powell's going to play that star position, so can drop back and play a little defensive back if he has to. But it's a really talented, really experienced linebacking unit, and it was great last year. I think it can be really good again this year, especially with all you have coming back. What's more, look at the secondary. I already told you 21 interceptions last year. Well, you do have to replace a couple of your INT leaders from last season, such as a safety in Robert Rahimi. He is gone, no longer a part of this program. You're also going to be replacing some other pretty darn solid talent from last season. Your best corner from last year in DJ Harvey has transferred off to USC. Albeit, though, you still get some good pieces coming back, led by Isaiah Revis, or Revis, however you pronounce that last name. He's a really good returning piece. Might have been your third, yes, was your third leading tackler. Also had 2 interceptions last year. So really good producer from that standpoint. Jalen Boehner is going to be coming back. You get Kewan Bullard that's going to come back and be a backup corner for you because a transfer. And Runye Norton is over from El Camino College, was originally at Catawba College before transferring over there. So it's coming from the community college JUCO realm to be a really, really good player. I don't know if I've mentioned Jalen Boehner yet. If I have, sorry. If I haven't, well, there you go. The Jalen Boehner going to be on the opposite corner side for you this year. So I still think it's going to be a really good secondary. While you may have to find some pieces to step up and get that interception production you did last year, I think you got overall, again, a really, really nice and solid unit defensively. You have to improve those third downs, though. Before we talk more, punter is going to return. That was Trent Carey Sosa, and Matthias Brown is going to be your new kicker because special teams people, or special teams players and kickers are people too. Messed up the saying pretty darn bad there. Again, defensively, money downs, money downs, money downs. Offensively, what does this new look wide receiver room look like, and will it be as talented as last year? I'll answer the second question, no, I don't think it will be. But to go back to the first question, I do think they're going to end up being a pretty solid bunch. And as long as they can stay healthy and stay consistent, this, again, I say it because it's really, really fun to say. And it's a pretty unique way to describe what they do, the spread and shred offense. I think it's going to be a really, really good unit overall. And some weird glitching happening there, and it's a schedule that sets up really, really nicely for them. You take a look at it. Sure, the non-conference schedule is going to have its pitfalls, but you take a look at the conference schedule. There's no Boise State. There's no UNLV. The schedule sets up really, really, there's no Colorado State. They can be pretty good this year. There's no inherently ridiculously dangerous team. on your Mountain West schedule. Sure, you got a couple nice ones like Air Force and Fresno State and even Hawaii. You'll notice all those games are at home, though. So let's go ahead and move forward with predictions here. We just did Central Michigan earlier today, and I already told you I think that San Jose State is going to win that one. Oh, my apologies. Totally forgot. Right down below me, odds courtesy of FanDuel. They'll give you some good context to how good the odds makers think the Spartans are going to be this year. Not me telling you to go place your money because I'm not one to give out betting advice. They do have the third best odds to win the Mountain West, I believe, at plus 1,000. Plus 5,000 to get into the CFP is really not that long of a shot compared to a lot of the other teams that we're covering here on the channel. And 7.5 is that over-under win total. I mean, woo! A lot is expected of San Jose State, and like I said a moment ago, they'll start off the season with a win. Central Michigan is replacing a lot of talent, and while I think things can gel there well eventually, I don't think that's going to be at the start of the season, especially on a Friday night across the country in San Jose. Spartans should be able to beat the Chippewas. I did say that your non-conference schedule comes with some pitfalls. This is probably one of the biggest pitfalls any G4 team or any G5 team can have on their schedule. It's on the road against one of the best teams in the country in Texas, and I just don't see it really even competing here. And it's not because San Jose State's not good. It's because Texas is ridiculously good. Arch Manning, you return some really good skill position units. They're loaded everywhere defensively. I think this is going to be a really good Texas team, and San Jose State is going to struggle with the Texas Longhorns. So that right there is a loss. However, after a bye week, you get to regroup, reload, and then you get to play Idaho. Now, Idaho is one of the more dangerous teams in the FCS ranks. However, I think San Jose State going to be one of the better group of 5 teams this year, and they really should not have much trouble, although Idaho gave Oregon a run for their money last year. So I think Idaho's going to be competitive here, but I do think San Jose State wins the game. And then on the road at Stanford. This was a Spartan team that beat the Cardinal last year 34-31, and Stanford is expected to have another season where they just overall really might not be that competitive. Now, much like Stanford was for some points last year and in some games, I think that you're going to see them be a pretty sneaky team at points, be pretty sneaky competitive, and I think this is the game where they can do that. Plus, Frank Reich is now your head coach. I still don't think, because of the talent that is on this Stanford team, I just don't see it being that great of a season, but I do think Frank Reich has the ability to outcoach a lot of guys, and I do like Ken Niumatalolo a lot. But again, there are going to be times where the Stanford team is sneaky competitive, and I do think they get their revenge on San Jose State from last season. I know they lost a lot, and I know they're going to be trying to replace a ton of pieces. I just see this one as a game San Jose State falters in, and would it surprise me if they won? No, not at all. And if they did win, well, you're probably looking at on a cusp right there of a 9, maybe even 10-win season as you dive on into conference play. Again, guys, there are just a lot of teams on the schedule that I just don't think are going to compete very well with San Jose State. New Mexico is one of them. Devin Dampier is gone. Really good wide receiver piece is gone. Some excellent defensive pieces gone. Head coach Bronco Mendenhall has taken a brand new job. This is the New Mexico team that was really starting to build and trend in the right direction, and they very well could be a team that falls back down to earth this upcoming season. Wyoming is up next here, and I have not really spoken that well of Wyoming in my videos. It's because I really do think they need to find that identity under Jay Sawvell. It was not a great season for the Cowboys last year, and overall just a lot of struggle coming from this program last season. However, when I take a look at some of the talent here, I think there are some players that can give guys a run for their money. Sam Scott, the running back, I do really like him. Jalen Sargent is a wide receiver. I like him as a really good experienced senior receiver. And you look at the transfer portal pieces they bring in, there's experience across the board. I think Wyoming is going to start to see some improvements this year, and I know I just spoke really well about him. Is that going to make a difference here? I don't think so. I think San Jose State is way more talented, and they have a lot more figured out, quite simply, even though I think the fans in Laramie are one of college football's most underrated and better fan bases. I do believe that San Jose State will silence that crowd, and they'll beat Wyoming there on the road. Same thing with Utah State. Maybe not in terms of the crowd thing, but whatnot, but they're still trying to figure out their identity as well. And I see Utah State, well, again, they lost some pieces. being one of the bottom teams here in this conference. So, hey, if you're San Jose State, you're looking really, really good right now. But then you get to this game against Hawaii, the game against Air Force after the bye week. And I think this is going to be a really tough back to back. Even though you have the two games at home, I think these are going to be two teams that can compete really, really well with San Jose State. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care who it is, I think you'll lose one of them. I do think there's a scenario that is probably a ton more likely, and I just showed you it. I think they beat Hawaii here, which means I think they lose to Air Force. So I'll get to all of that here in a minute. But when talking about this Hawaii team, I know a new quarterback is going to be coming in this year. However, Landon Sims at running back, you're going to get him back. Wide receiver pieces I still think are very prevalent and good. Timmy Chang as a head coach is taking some really big strides. And this is a Hawaii team that was this close to getting into a bowl game last year. And lots of really good defensive pieces are going to be coming back to this team. I think Hawaii is going to get much, much better this season and take a very nice step towards being a bowl game team. In fact, they might even get there this season because there are some teams below them in the Mountain West that probably are not going to be as good as Hawaii. I think Hawaii can take another step up. This is just not a game where they win. Air Force. Okay, Air Force did not have that good of a season last year, but they were replacing everybody. 5 returning starters was all that Air Force had to go on last year, and now they're returning a majority of their starters from a season ago. Guys, to me, there is no way that Air Force has bad of a year as they did last year. Troy Calhoun is too good of a head coach. I think this team plays too good of a system, and I think they're overall too talented to have a year like they did last year. While there could be some slips and falling into cracks here and there, I overall do not see this Air Force team having as bad of a year as they did last year, especially when you take a look defensively. They're going to be a lot more aggressive. They're going to be a lot better. And for a San Jose State team that defensively could struggle with some physicality at the line based off how much they lost, I think this is an Air Force team that can take advantage of that, and I think overall they're going to prove to be the more physical side. So that is a win for the Air Force Falcons, just the 3rd loss of the year for San Jose State, but you should be able to rebound nicely with the win on the road against the Nevada Wolfpack. Not a team that has that identity figure out whatsoever, and they're probably going to be down towards the bottom of the Mountain West with teams like Wyoming, Utah State, and New Mexico. So you play another one of the teams that could finish really low in the Mountain West Conference. Now, the only tricky thing I'll say about that is you do play 3 of them on the road, 2 of which, Utah State and Wyoming, are probably going to be in fairly hostile environments. Wyoming, at least, absolutely, that's going to be a really tough environment to go play in because those fans show up and show out no matter what. But I think, again, this is a Spartan team that's way too talented, and they're going to be able to maybe not run through all of them. I think Wyoming can give them some trouble. Utah State maybe can give them some trouble, but I just think the Spartan team is too talented. So they'll run through those 4 schools. And look, they've picked up win number 7 on the year. Okay, let's talk about this one. The same thing here. I have not really spoken the best of San Diego State. However, I think they get a massive win this year. And with this being a kind of sort of rivalry, it might be even a lot bigger than I'm thinking. I think San Diego State gets this win, much like Wyoming. Snapdragon Stadium is a tough place to play, and this is the fan base that shows up and shows out. I think they're going to see some improvement this year, and while I don't think it's exponential, Sean Lewis, that whole experiment not working the way I thought it would, I think you're going to get some really good results this year, including winning a game that you're probably not supposed to, which is this one right here. Jaden Denegal going to play quarterback. I like what they have in the skill position room. Defensively, that's the room that's got to take a step in the right direction, and hey, they return a ton of pieces on that side of the football. I think San Diego State gonna maybe not be up to San Jose State's level, but they're gonna be better than they were last year, and I think they get this win over the Spartans, and the Spartans close things out with Fresno State, also a team that is going to be overhauling a lot of pieces out of the Mountain West. Fresno State is a team that does have a new head coach in Matt Entz, who I like a lot. Well, you know him from North Dakota State, one of the dynasties over at the FCS level. EJ Warner coming in, as long as he can slow down to enter the interception number. He's going to be exceptional for Fresno State. I think he's already going to be good. That INT number slows down. He's going to be exceptional. And you still have some good defensive pieces like Corey Foreman coming back, as well as some good transfers coming in. However, this is a home game for San Jose State, and I do think that this is one that you can look at, and I think San Jose State is the better team. They are more talented. They are better equipped. I think it's a good matchup for them, and I do think San Jose State wins that game. So, guys, you look at what I got here, 8-4. Now, I put 9-3 as the ceiling because I got a feeling this team might lose one that, oh, you look back and say, not quite sure why they lost it. However, I think more realistically, 10 wins is an excellent ceiling for this program, maybe even 11, because I think you can beat Air Force. I think you can beat San Diego State. I think you can beat Stanford. I think that's going to be a little bit hard to do. But imagine if this team goes 11-1, their only losses on the road to Texas, and they beat, say, a team like Boise State in the Mountain West Championship. That's a pretty compelling case to get in as a G5 representative. I think, again, some of the wide receiver pieces might not fit in right away. There might be some defensive things and some games where the third down situation doesn't click, and that's something that you can't just fix overnight. They're going to have to really improve that third down defense. But if they can do that, this is one of the more dangerous teams and a team to watch out for in the Mountain West Conference. That's all from me. Remember to play hard to tailgate harder, and let me know what you think about the Spartans in the comment section below. See y'all later. Goodbye.